Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? What? Yeah, we've had a great couple of days. Super excited. It's been pretty busy at Truflation. We've got a lot of things. I'll share with you a bit of an update there and then go into some macro. Obviously, tariffs is top of mind, but everybody seems like. So we'll cover off some of the ideas and what we're seeing and our view on that. And then also just go into some other things that are currently taking place around the world in these days of manic activities. But we're excited. Happy Thursday. I'm Stefan Roost. I'm the founder of Laguna Labs, which is really the builder behind Truth Network, which is powering the Truflation dashboards that you all see and interact with. I've had an amazing couple of days. I remember on Tuesday, if you remember, we shared with you our forecast and our prediction. I walked you through a bit of a presentation. And of course, we were spot on with that prediction and hit the numbers on the head. And so here you can see we were spot on, right, with the 2.8% forecast and pretty excited about that. I mean, that really drove a lot of activity around what we're doing. Here you can see March 11th, which was 2 days ago. We posted that the BLS will show 2.8. We saw, inflation is expected to decline slightly. And remember, Truflation.com is showing a further decline with a 45-day lead time. We are looking at a further decline even in March, sorry. So we'll give you more insights to that. If you're a subscriber, obviously you get more insights ahead of the time, but we will share this again 2 days beforehand. And it's not much to be a subscriber. It's $50 a month. So we think it's pretty affordable given all the value and the alpha that you can get out of it. We shared a bit of the alpha with you last time, what all of that could look like. And I'm just trying to find, we've just put a bit of a sales pitch deck together. Maybe you'd like to see that. And let's see if this is it. This is it. This is it. It's loading. It's loading. It's loading. It's all on Figma. That's our website. Sorry, that's not going to be the right one. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with it, but here you can see our website still showing pretty active what we've been doing, and we've been spot on again, right? And so some of you have asked to see this graph, so the team are making this graph available on the site. But ultimately, if you just go to Truflation.com, you can see the breakdown of that. If you just need to go to US inflation index, and in here, I think I need to go into the app. So I'm in the app, and then you can see in here composition. So this is all that slide is. It's a breakdown and adding it into, instead of having 12 categories, which Truflation has, you'll only have 6 categories, which is what the BLS has. And that is what we are showing in this tweet here. So if you look at this tweet here, this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoops. These are our 12 in that case. So it's not the BLS numbers. But this is how we give you more insight and more details. And as you know, if you go to Truflation, if you go to Truflation.com here, you can then come and see in the index itself, you get all the details here. You can see what the API ID is. So if you want to subscribe to an API ID, you just copy this and then you plug this into our SDK. You can then go and view it on Explorer. You see all the details in here. So inside food and beverages, you can see food at home. That again is a composed data set. So this is aggregating a number of different data sets together. It is a consumed by this index. So we can go and look at food at home, and inside here you see bread, rice, cereal, and we see eggs. Here you go. You can have a look at eggs, and you can then subscribe to this data and create the eggflation, which I shared with you last time, and that should be going live tomorrow on truflation.com. You can see, though, overall on Truth Network, how much data we actually have. So if you come in here, you can see all the data sets. I don't know how many numbers per page we have right now, but you can see here we got 8,440 pages. So pretty difficult and challenging. So we're optimizing the search capability up here. We have a new set of, I think, a whole new slew of data is coming online for Truth.network, for Truflation to be able to better calculate. It's going to have a bit of an impact on the calculation of Truflation because new data is coming online, and that will get us more and better accuracy. So that's pretty exciting. And also you can see that that will also be reflected over here at index.fund. Oh, look at here, super gold. What's in super gold? Gold is up like crazy, right? And so we have Bitcoin Gold, Pax Gold. But yeah, no, but when you create an index here on index.fund, you can see down here right now, there are only 975 streams online. This will jump to about 60,000 in the next day or so. So that's coming live. So ultimately, you can create a whole bunch of indexes beyond my gold index, which is futures, Goldfinch, which is crypto assets, Goldman Sachs, and then Adventure Gold and Bitcoin Gold. So you got a number of different gold assets because it's the golden era, I guess, with gold price being as high as it is. So anyway, we thought we'd create that, and you'd be able to create this alone with 975 streams, and you'll be able to predict the outcome. At the moment, it's just up and down, but very soon you'll have perpetuals associated with this, and you might even have time-stamped futures for these. So we are working with some really cool market makers to really bring this to life, and helping and supporting and the team to really make this a reality, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, so that's sort of all the things that we've been working on and been very successful around. The other thing that's really gone live is Nuon. I shared, and you've checked our video. If you haven't, please go to all these groups. You can go to Nuon Finance on Telegram or follow them on Twitter, and you can do the same with index.fund. On Telegram and on Twitter to get your updates and latest news. But here you see Nuon constantly, the stable coin is actually receiving a 1.37% reward. And then if you stake that, you earn 1,314% APY. That is in Nuon, a blend of yield in stable coins and a blend of yield in strategy tokens. Stay tuned and find out what the strategy token allows you to do. But the strategy token allows you to participate and allocate funds into these various pools, generating the yield based on a risk reward ratio that you deem appropriate. So that's pretty exciting. And you can see that there. So yeah. Anyway, that's sort of some of the insights and activity around what's going on around this beautiful Truth Network platform, and all the data that's been aggregated, making it available to you. And here, obviously, you can see how Truflation is accurately building and growing that. One thing that we've also realized that Truflation, the traffic has just grown in the last month significantly. Some of you were trying to access the website yesterday. We had huge volumes in traffic, and to surprising so. And so I think we had to fix some of the compute capabilities to be able to support the demand and traffic load on the site, and then be able to deliver that. So that was pretty good and exciting. I think, yeah, a lot of people enjoyed that, and yeah, I think are very happy about the progress that we've made, and the traffic, the prognostics that we are delivering, and what we're sharing. So I'm trying to find, we hit a number where over 30 minutes, we were hitting some 10, some 15,000, 1,500 new users. So it was really striking to see that kind of performance. And yeah, here you can see the number. So share this tab. So in 30 minutes, this was yesterday as I was logging off on Tuesday, sorry, we were up at 1,300 per 30 minutes, which we've never seen that kind of volume of traffic for Truflation. And ultimately resulting in a huge number of growth where we're now above and beyond some 200,000 monthly active users, and our subscriber numbers are growing as well. And we'll share those as we aggregate them and pull them together out of Stripe. So good to see. And by the way, if you're asking, what is a truth token for? The truth token is for Truflation to consume and leverage the truth network to manage all of the backend services. So all of the database structuring, all of the database data delivery, data availability, and the calculation associated with the methodology, making that transparent, all of that, Truflation pays truth tokens to the truth network to enable that and provide that service. And not only that, so does Nuon, so does Index.fun, and so do other protocols subscribing to the indexes that the calculation agent is delivering. Whew. Anyway, that's sort of a bit sort of the context of what we've been working on since Tuesday. You've seen it. We're also, sort of lots of talk around cryptosphere on tariffs. Everybody's really worried about tariffs. But I think, one of the things is you got to ask yourself, why is the U.S. doing tariffs? You think about it, it has a trade deficit of about $1.1 trillion. And you can see where that trade deficit is coming from. So here's just one simple graph. It's not a comprehensive reflection of what's going on, but you see, trade deficit with the US has been growing 1, 2, 3 every year to now some 300 billion trade deficit. Mexico's 120 billion. But the interesting thing is we just had the Prime Minister of Ireland visiting the US, and you can see here 87 billion is the trade deficit with Ireland. And so what is the strategy behind all of these tariffs? All Trump is trying to do is get people to the negotiation table and come and show that there is reciprocity. And so what very smart and eloquent, the Irish, what the hell is this? So, the Irish Prime Minister, of course, he goes to the US, meets Donald Trump, and here he talks about that Ireland is investing a lot more in America now, right? So he knows that he wants to see investments. And let's have a look at what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying.
You guys did the right thing. I'm not upset with you. I think I respect what you've done. You've done a great job. But our people did a very bad job.
I mean, what I would say, President, if I could, 1 second, just make the point. It's a two-way street too. We are investing a lot more in America now, and people may not realize, but Ryanair, one of our biggest airlines, for example, AirCap, they buy more. The two of them together buy more Boeing airplanes than anybody else outside of America. That's a little known fact. It doesn't turn up in the statistics, but Ryanair and AirCap, big aircraft leasing company, Irish company, have done great work with Boeing and huge investments over the last number of years. So, and there's a lot of Irish companies here now, about 700 Irish companies based in America. Glanbia, Smurfit, Rock, I was saying to you this morning, a lot of them creating thousands.
So he's showing that Ireland is investing and has invested in the US. They've created thousands of jobs, like Kerrygold Butter, Ryanair has bought a lot of Boeing airlines. But one thing is Ireland is a big hub for jet leasing companies, right? So a lot of the airlines are not purchased by the carriers. So when you fly Ryanair or British Airways or United or American Airlines or JetBlue, you're not flying. The airline generally does not own the aircraft. The aircraft is actually owned by a leasing company that rents it or leases it to the carrier. And so as a result, a lot of these leasing companies are headquartered and or registered in Ireland. And I guess that's what he's highlighting and trying to emphasize here. And of course, they're all financing Boeing. So despite this trade deficit of 87 billion, he's trying to make it up. And I think that's all he's looking for. And you can see the tariffs with China, right? There's a really, I won't take it from my mouth, sort of here, you can see the trade deficit the US has, $1.1 trillion total. So they're going to want to fix this trade deficit. They're going to want to turn it around. Why wouldn't that be normal? Everybody is going to expect it. China used to do it. China still does it. The rest of the world does it. So why can't the US do it? But I think there's a really interesting interview that Sean Ryan, who's been in China for many, many years, he's a consultant over in China. Follow his channel, The Rise of Asia. And what he's talking about is the trade. He's talking about how Trump is impacting trade. Again, it's tariffs, it's all of that stuff. And so he actually addresses it and looks at it from the China perspective. And I thought this was really interesting for you to hear as well. Well, it would help if I shared that. So maybe it would help if I shared this with you guys, wouldn't it? Sorry, guys, but yeah. So this is Sean Rain. Yeah, so he's an American, been living in China for 20 plus years, working on a lot of strategy deals and consulting and advisory deals. And
best trade deal for America and probably for himself. With Trump, I think Chinese view that there's an opening. I'll give an example. Trump has said, I don't want Chinese NEV automakers to export from China autos into the United States. I want them to build factories in America, hire American workers, and help grow the economy of the United States. Frankly, that's fair, right? That's what the Chinese did to GM. That's what the Chinese did to Ford. That's what the Chinese did to Volkswagen in the 1990s. They said to foreign automakers, if you want to have access to China's growing, swelling middle class, you need to set up joint ventures and you need to set up factories in China. So I think it's fair if Trump, and frankly, I think it's fair if Europe does the same to the BYDs, the NEOs, and the XPengs of the world and says, if you want access to America and you want access to Europe, you need to invest in factories in these countries. The key is that Trump is offering a pathway to Chinese companies. With Biden, it was 100% tariff on Chinese NEVs, and it was 100% ban on Chinese NEVs and software. But that's basically a 100% ban because NEVs are basically mobile phones on wheels. You can't separate a Chinese car from their auto software because it's all incorporated together. So Biden basically was banning Chinese NEVs, which is one of China's new productive forces and key pillars for economic growth, from ever selling into the United States. While Trump is saying, build factories in America. That gives a pathway. It's the same thing with TikTok. Biden wanted to ban TikTok completely. Trump is saying maybe if TikTok sells a 50% stake to American investors, we'll give an avenue. I'm actually cautiously optimistic over trade between the US and China under Trump, because at least Trump is giving a pathway to Chinese companies to start to invest and grow internationally without fears of sanctions. That's why in the last 2-3 weeks, especially after Xiaohongshu or Red's emergence, but especially after Trump's election, and even more after the emergence of DeepSeek and the release of DeepSeek, you've seen green shoots of optimism amongst China's 10%, or the movers and shakers, the wealthy people, and they're getting excited about investing. I also think
so I think, here,
that Trump is pragmatic, and he's going to see that US-China trade eventually is good for the American population. If you look at it, inflation is a major problem in the United States right now.
Anyway, he goes on and explains this, but I think the big thing is Chinese expect to be at the negotiation table. They know what it means. They've done it themselves. They set up JVs. In order to sell your products in China, you needed to set it up through a JV. Both European and US companies had done so, both Otis from big elevators to be able to supply these elevators into all the high-rise buildings that were being built and developed across China, all the way to GM as well as Ford, all setting up big joint venture factories, right? The first one that we talked about, and as you know, if you've been listening to this channel, we've been talking about how Tesla actually was one of the first companies not to have to set up a JV. But again, it just shows that the media is creating this huge brouhaha, and Wall Street creating this huge noise and buzz around tariffs and how that's impacting it. But actually, all Trump's trying to do is get people to the negotiation table and build reciprocity. It's just about reciprocity, and that makes sense, right? I don't want to feel, none of us, as with our friends, with our trading partners, nobody wants to be feel fleeced. We want to have reciprocity. We want to feel happy about the relationship and the partnership, and I think that's all he's focusing on. And you see the same with France, right? So there was just this post that came out. Trump was posting about the EU and the tariffs again on whiskey. I think somebody was putting a 50% tariff on U.S. whiskey. Yeah, and so all of a sudden, France, please remove this. Otherwise, we'll put a 200% tariff on all your wine, champagne, which will be good for the U.S. Winemakers and champagne businesses. Anyway, that's sort of what he's saying here. But France has its own problems, right? I mean, if you look at France, they've got a trade deficit. So I go to Trading Economics, which is one of our partner sites that we work with around some of the data. You can see the trade deficit that France has. However, with America, it has a trade surplus. So it's actually exporting more to the US than it is to America. But actually, how come here is America minus 11%, and then over here, I think it's in the different types of products. So yeah, we should read that and check it out. But France has a trade deficit of about, it's so you can see 6.3, 3.9, a forecast of actual is 6.5. So you can see 6.3, 3.9, 6.5. So it's like, so lots of different trade deficits that are actually taking place in France. So it's also adding up. So a lot of the Western governments are experiencing negative trade balances. So how do they fix it up? And then I guess the US is saying, not with us anymore. So it's got to be with other partners. And I think the biggest issue that's going to happen is with ultimately, who are their biggest trading partners? It's going to be the Middle East. It's going to be China or Asia, Japan, maybe the rest of Asia, that have a huge set of requirements associated with wine, alcohol, but maybe energy, right? France is super good at electricity, famous for nuclear energy. They have, I think, some 60% or 70% of global energy of national energy requirements is produced through nuclear sources. So very interesting there. Anyway, that's sort of really on tariffs. I think if you saw the presentation that we shared with you on Tuesday, briefly, and if you're a subscriber, you can see it over here. But Oliver's done a detailed breakdown on how tariff might impact inflation. And he believes that overall, if all of the messages are implemented as said, remember, this is all about a negotiation. It's getting people back to the negotiation table and trying to actually get reciprocity and fair trade relationships. So if you look at that, and based on the current statements that are in place out there, Oliver's calculated about a 0.8% increase in inflation due to tariffs. And so you can see he's done a breakdown of automotive, how that's impacting crude oil, housing, maple syrup, and oil. One of the things is Mexico and Canada import crude oil or export crude oil to the US for that refineries use for gas, diesel, and jet fuel, right? So that's going to be a big component, right? So you need thicker oil, apparently. I don't know too much about that, but I'm sure there are experts out there that do know a bit more about that. Maple syrup. We talked about that briefly, and we talked about avocados. So yeah, if you saw that on Tuesday, here's a bit of a breakdown. You can have a look at what is really going on and how tariffs might impact true inflation. We're going to see new data sets coming to Truflation. We're going to see much more in terms of activity around that. We're going to see a better granularity and more granularity, right? There was an interesting slide that somebody shared to me, right? So imagine you're trading daily. You're going to see much more volatility in Truflation. And versus if you look at a monthly basis or even an annual basis. On a monthly basis, you might see little ticks and ups and downs. but then on an annual basis, you'll see more of a curved environment. And so ultimately, hence Truflation has a lot more volatility. So that's why we try and share updates real time so you can then make decisions. I think, what's going on in the business and the economy world. There's a lot of activity right now. Palantir is having their conference right now. Palantir is very strong in the AI and data management space. They're basically a blend between consultancy and automation and AI for a lot of different enterprise and especially the US government. I think Doge, if you look at a lot of the Doge presentations, they're using Palantir. So we're getting a lot of the insights, translations, and workflows and automation set up with Palantir. So tech support by Elon Musk and the Doge team is actually implementation of Palantir technologies and AI automation and workflow processes. So very interesting to see. They've got their conference today, so check out their stream. And they just announced a partnership with Databricks. So there's going to be more announced strategic product partnership to deliver secure, efficient AI to customers. Yeah, so they're working somehow with Databricks customers, and they're going to be building out AI solutions to those customers. If you want to follow Palantir, so check out Amit Kukreja. Really, he's always got a lot of insights into Palantir. Yes, follow some of his, and he's at AIP right now. So if you want to find out more and learn what's going on over there, check that out. That's pretty much it, right? I mean, I think one of the things that we've been talking about is what kind of other indexes could we create? What sort of data sets would you like to see on the Truth Network? One of the examples has been weather, right? So we have been studying the weather category. A lot of companies use weather to hedge themselves and weather data to hedge themselves against crops. So farmers, the agricultural industry, how can I ensure my crop against weather changes? So they can buy and couple weather data with futures crop pricing, and consumers of food can do that, as well as farmers looking to ensure their crop against weather changes. So all of that is really important. The other thing that we're seeing is utility companies looking to offset their energy needs for the cost of electricity based on temperature swings. So if temperature go below 36, maybe if temperature goes below, let's say 50 degrees, we need to switch on heating, and boom, then I want to be able to need or be able to purchase energy at a cost predefined should that event occur. And the same if it goes above 100, I want aircon. That's Fahrenheit, by the way. I want air conditioning, and then I can actually buy energy contracts based on that event and then hedge myself. So a lot of hedge funds are beginning to invest in weather data. And so we've struck up and are looking to strike a partnership with WeatherXM, introduced to us by Redbeard Ventures, one of our partners that helped get Truflation off the ground. Really excited working with Drew and the team over there. Milana, really, sort of very active, high energy, high octane team, and really good investors, continuously connecting people and trying to help out with new introductions that are actually fundamental and foundational. So really excited about that. And of course, the big thing that happened just today, in case you missed it, we had been working together with the team over at Bitstamp to bring the Truth token back to life on the Bitstamp exchange. It was really nice working with the Bitstamp team, super professional, really excited in that journey with them. and also what we are working on going forward. There'll be an interesting competition. There'll be some marketing coming out, and we're going to do some other things together as they evolve and go through the final stages of their acquisition and completing the integration. So with Robinhood, that is. So exciting times, and really glad to be working with a very professional team over at Bitstamp. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this. That's it for me. I don't have much more today. It's a Thursday, so look forward to seeing you on the next Tuesday again. Yeah, hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if there are things that you think I should cover, you'd like to hear, you'd like us to address. You're doing great. Thanks for this live session. Yeah, thank you. Welcome, Jungle. Yeah, look, anything you want to ask or would like us to cover, we can obviously predict more around inflation going into the future. We can talk about other things. Let me know what you'd like to hear. You have the chats. You can come in Twitter. Follow us, please, on Twitter. Sign up to our newsletter on truflation.com. Follow Truth Network. Find out more about Index.fun and Nuon. So there's so much going on around the Truth Network and the whole Truflation ecosystem that's coming together. Stay tuned. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next Tuesday.